Hello all, a knife steer here. How are you all doing today? I do hope it is good. And today we're going to be looking at a knife that we've already done a summary on. Oh no, this is the summary for the review that I've done. I will link that down below. Blah, 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 blah. Boilerplate stuff, nonsense. Yeah. This is the Spyderco Emphasis, and it is their budget offering, let's call it. I hesitate to say that, as it's not really a budget knife. And it is a Spyderco knife with steel G10 made in China in 8CR13 MOV at $85 originally. It has been discontinued and you can probably get them for much cheaper. I got this thing for 40 bucks. 40 bucks? Okay. Kind of. It's still got issues. But okay. I don't know what they were thinking. This is one of those ones where it's like when they were pricing this thing, they either really, they doubled the price of what this knife should be. 100%. This is a $40 knife. Maybe $45 or $50 if you want to push it, because at least it does have a decent amount of steel here. But it's not great. It's not great. And I don't know. You can only say that maybe it was the spider tax. Like, there's a butterfly tax, there's a spider tax, but they got aggressive with it. I don't know. I just don't understand this knife at all. 3.5 inches of blade, 8.25 overall. Pretty reasonable size. Not going to go into more of that for the full specs, as that's in the review. Got the standard leaf-shaped blade. As I said, 8CR13 MOV, and on this blade, yeah, that's ugly, isn't it? It's also a bit up at the tip right there. And I sharpened this knife. All of this has still got its edge on it. It's still pretty sharp. It sharpened up fine. But this and this, I don't know what the heck they were doing, but it looks like someone dug super deep, like on the belt or something, into that part of the blade, because I spent probably longer than I should have, and I could not hit that just yet with a single sharpening. It's also on this side just a little bit. You can just see it kind of right there at the tip, where the edge of the bevel. Yeah. So a little funkiness going on there. Plus the blade had a was it the lock bar or the tang of the blade? I think it was the lock bar. Had a big old hanging burr on it that I had to get rid of because the thing was horrible and it was causing lock issues. It was pretty intense. And fortunately it just sort of popped the hell off. I'm pretty sure it was on the lock bar. On the lock insert, I should say, the steel. But not great. Not great. In standard Spyderco fashion, it's got your big flowy curvature handle with a forward choil, which takes up some of the blade. Though I will admit, no, I guess it is about the same amount of the blade used up as on something like a Spyderco PM2. But now that this is here, I will say, I do kind of like the texturing on the G10 better. That is one thing I will give it. This just feels nicer. This probably gives you a little bit more grip in like wet or glove conditions, maybe. But I actually think this is kind of nicer. It's not quite as tight. It doesn't get quite as packed with gunk. It still gets it a little bit, but not nearly as bad. It's just, I like this better. So they did that right. But everything else on this knife is not so good. Raw and phosphor bronze washers. And it's tight. It's okay smooth. I can flick it right now. But it's kind of got yeah, that one was barely engaging. It's definitely a slow roll knife. And it's a knife that the pivot, with this is tiny little thing as the pivot, even though I've Loctited it twice, doesn't take. It's one of those ones where it still slightly works its way out slowly. So there is a bit of a grace period. When I first set it, it's a little bit tighter than this, and then there's a period in between where it's a little bit easier to actuate it, and then it starts getting a little bit of blade play. We're currently okay. It is reasonably centered. It wasn't initially, but I did get it centered, if I remember correctly. There are some good things. The stop pin is internal. I mean, not that it matters with Spyderco's choil, but it is internal. Yay. Love seeing that. It feels like a very solid... Like, it feels better than your average $40 knife, but I don't necessarily think it is. It's just because it's got big steel thick liners and backspacer on there. But the pricing hurts here. Pocket wire clip. Wire pocket clip, yes. Reversible. This is one of the worst wire pocket clips I think I've ever actually had. Normally, wire clips are kind of... You always feel them. They're never wonderful. They're there. But they're never, like, unpleasant to interact with because they're just rounded little tiny sticks, right? So you don't necessarily lose track of them quite like some knives, but you don't... pardon me. But you don't get the hot spots that you can get off of some other clips and stuff. Not quite the case with this one. And I think that's because of these ergos. And it's weird to say this, but I think they kind of mixed up the ergos on this knife a little bit for Spyderco. When you hold it here, it's really not super comfortable. It's very noticeable. Up here, it's okay. You're still getting it, and it's still, you can still definitely feel it. But it's a little bit better. But what I think they did was, for me personally, this is of course personal, but I think they went in too deep. They cut this back too far. Because when you go in here and you get all the way in there, the pocket clip sits at a really weird position in my hand. However, if I orient the knife back like this, and that don't grip all the way into that choil, because when I do that, it pushes the knife at an angle. I've noticed that when I'm sitting here like this, pocket clip is much more comfortable. So I think they went too deep of a dramatic lock bar and lock bar cutout. If they had left it a little bit more shallow, it would have probably been more comfortable. Because when you go in here and you go all the way in, that's when it starts hitting at weird spots. Just for me. That may be not the case for you, but I do think it's important to say. And also, when I grip like this, as you can kind of see, there's some space in between my hand and the knife in that one forward position. The rest of my hand's on there. But if they had curved that out slightly deeper, or I mean slightly shallower, because when I try to actually engage my finger all in it, again, it slips into a slightly weird position and it starts feeling weird. So I think they went a little aggressive there for my hands. But yeah, it's not a great knife. I mean, it's just a G10 stainless steel liner lock, an 8CR at, for some reason, $85. It just doesn't make sense. Also, as usual, even though that Spydercos are, you know, all designed for the ergos, and it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. What never makes sense to me is how they do their edges. There's no real chamfer. It's just like a slightly, I guess it's a chamfer, but it's super small. It's just a slightly softened rounding. But that creates flat. So as much as you want to make it ergonomically designed in profile, in hand, you've got a hard edge coming into contact with a hard edge, and the edges are never nearly as comfortable as they could be for a knife that's shaped for all of its ergos. I'm not saying it has to be contoured. I'm just saying maybe change how you do your edges so they're not quite as, you know, there are slightly more gradual slopes, or they stand off in different angles, or they're rounded in different ways. I'm not sure what to do to fix it, but I don't know. I just don't find the ergos on Spydercos nearly as good as, I guess, they're designed to be, because they have these some strange decisions made in them. It's just my personal take on the ergos of Spydercos in general, but this knife, let's get that out of there. This knife's not good. Not good. Way overpriced. Has issues. I don't know what they were going with here, but yeah, that's the emphasis. Summary, done, whatever. Let's put it out, and it's going to probably go into a drawer and probably stay there, unless I need something to really just beat this shit out of, because I'll do it with this knife. That's all. I'm rambled, talked about other things, compared. This is a weird one, so I'm just going to end it. See you later.